Here's something for all you Glock fanatics out there, and I just want to go over a couple things to look for when you're buying a used Glock. This is going to be a real simple video. I'm not really going into detail, just going over the things that I look for if I'm looking for a used Glock or I happen upon a used Glock and I want to buy it. These are the things that I'm looking for just initially as I break it down. Of course, you can get really in-depth in the inspection, but this is just kind of, again, a quick once-over. Now, the first thing I look at is the recoil spring assembly. Make sure the spring is good to go, and I make sure the polymer, there's no issues with the polymer tips here. Now, granted, if this is broken, you're really not going to have a captive assembly, but just take a look at it, make sure it's not chipping or cracking. If so, it's not a deal breaker. You just got to think about getting a new spring if you do buy one. These are really inexpensive, by the way. Next thing I look at, the barrel. Always look down the bore. Always take a second, look down the bore. See how it's nice and shiny. There's no dings in the chamber. Want to make sure there's no bulging in the barrel at all. Your lugs right here, you want to look and make sure there's no cracks along the lugs, because that can happen over time. You never know how many rounds have been put through these things by the person who had it before. And granted, a Glock, it takes a lot to mess up a Glock, especially a 9mm like I have here. But again, you still want to look. Just like any other semi-automatic, you want to look. On the Glocks, you want to look up here, right in here, make sure there's no cracks right here on this portion of the slide, because over a lot of use, you could possibly get a crack there. I'm talking lots of use. Realistically, you'll never see it, but it can happen. You want to look at the general condition inside the slide. Make sure the firing pin hole isn't deformed in any way. You want to check your extractor. Make sure your extractor isn't messed up. Sorry, I'm not getting this to focus too well. Make sure your extractor assembly is good to go. It's not messed up. And you can pull out the striker assembly if you want. It's real easy to do. Take the back plate off and pull out the striker assembly. Look at the striker assembly. And just kind of look at the whole setup. The sights, make sure the sights are good to go. And that's just, you can give a quick feel. What's common on these, what I've seen before, is people, they won't tighten that down correctly, and this front sight might be a little bit loose. When I still worked at a gun shop, that was some things I saw with the Glocks that some people had issues with. And that was just, it wasn't the fault of the sight or the handgun, it was just the person not putting enough torque down. Now, this right here, the frame, what I'm looking at is recoil block right here. Looking at your inserts, your steel inserts here, making sure everything's good to go. Looking inside, see if I can get it to focus. Look inside for anything obvious like rusted springs, any dirt lodged in there. Sometimes a lot of lint is lodged in there. And you want to look for any cracks along the frame. Look for any cracks up and down the grip, inside the mag well, trigger guard, up on the dust cover, anywhere. Because to me, a cracked frame anywhere, that's pretty much a deal breaker. Sorry, that's some of the things I look for. I don't have a magazine out. Of course, the magazines you want to look at, check for good spring tension, make sure there's no big cracks in the magazine. And I know what you're saying, hey, Glocks are pretty reliable, but I've seen some that were messed up. You never know how they're treated. And the main reason I'm putting this video out is because there's a lot of used Glocks on the market. Law enforcement agencies are trading them out by the thousands. So, if you're going to spend your hard-earned money on one, you might as well take a look at a few things. This is just kind of a quick overview. It's certainly not in-depth. I could go a lot more in-depth, but it's just a quick things to look at. So hopefully you find it useful. If not, then go ahead and post what things you might feel are useful to check in the comment section below. Alright, thanks for watching.